All right, you guys, welcome to our weekly team training. The goal and intention of this weekly training is to always equip you, empower you to truly be able to grow your business in the way that we know this business can be grown. And I just got off of a getting started training. We are having so many people join the team that it was time for a getting started training webinar so we could get as many people as possible on the line to get them up and running in this business. And a lot of them have tuned right into this training right now. So that is an excellent thing. And as a lot of you guys know, we've been doing these team trainings for a while. So for those of you guys that are new, I want you to understand that I always record these trainings, and I have about 4 months worth of these trainings on a blog. So one thing that you definitely want to write down is the website to that blog, because I really encourage you, whenever you have 30 minutes here or 30 minutes there, I typically try to keep the webinars to right about 30 minutes. You want to be going to this blog and tuning in to as many of these trainings as you possibly can, because I can tell you that people that tune into these trainings and the daily calls that we have, those are without a doubt, hands down, no question, the people that are getting the most results in their business. So the website that you want to go to is teamtransformationtraining.info. Again, it's teamtransformationtraining.info. And you will see there is just video after video after video after video of training that is absolutely going to equip you to do this business like gangbusters. I mean, fireworks, the whole nine. So tonight we have a really special training, and just to kind of bring you new folks up to speed, and just a little bit about me, because a lot of you guys are brand new, and so I'm so excited that you are getting your business started right, tuning into this training right away. But I have basically been a fitness coach for about 23 years. Both my husband and I, we have also both been in the industry of network marketing for about 10 years. We have been in 8 different companies. We have made 6 figures, and we have made nothing in those 8 different companies. And so when we found Alyse, we actually found it about 1.5 years ago, but really started working the business last summer. And I can tell you it has been the most amazing, life-changing experience ever. And really over the course of the last 8 months, my husband has been focusing on building the fitness program that we do here locally in Clayton, North Carolina. And he has built it to the point where we have about 60 people in our program, and these are not just people, these are truly family members. I mean, it is amazing the program that he has developed, the results that he has enabled, and the culture that has really been created through not only the people that we have been able to attract to the program, but just the way that he has been able to shift mindsets, shift beliefs, shift what people think is possible in this program. And so that has really been his focus. But I can tell you, in our previous businesses, he was really the leader in those businesses, and I, just kind of did stuff to help out. But every single one of those experiences equipped me and got me ready to be able to build this business and build this team since last summer. So it has been an incredible experience. Eric, for me, has been the biggest mentor and influence in my entire life. We've been together for about 12 years. We have 5 children together. I have a stepson, and then we have 4 young children that we now have the complete time and financial freedom to both be home with together. We homeschool. It is just an incredible lifestyle. And so Eric, for me, has been the one, really, who just never gave up on me, always believed in me, and it was his influence, mentorship, leadership that truly enabled me and empowered me to be able to lead this team today that has about 439 promoters and almost 1,000 customers. And this is just an incredible team. Been able to really recreate that culture within this team where it is a true family. environment. There is absolutely nobody on this team that I don't look forward to hearing from, talking to, connecting with, helping. We are just really, really full of energy and enthusiasm within this team, and it has just been incredible not only to experience our success and what this has done for our family, but even better than that and so much sweeter than that is really being able to do that for other people. And in the last several months, I've been able to help about 80 people hit Rising Star Director, which is an easy $500 to $1,000 a month additional income coming into households. Put 18 people in a BMW. We have probably 4 or 5 that are going to hit it this month as well. So it has just been an amazing ride. And so he is now coming on board to do some of these weekly trainings with us, and he also does some of our weekly calls because he is extremely gifted at a genius level of not only being able to truly train people in a way that gets them moving and gets them results, but in the process, mindsets are shifted, beliefs are built, limitations are broken down, and with this program that he's been able to develop in all of his fitness experience, one thing that he is incredible at is truly creating strategies, and not only strategies, but really being able to share a perspective and help people to ensure that they are always moving in the right direction. Because one thing about being in business for yourself is that it's very easy to be busy, but it's another story to be productive. So he is really genius at being able to look at activities and truly be able to ensure and set up a system where all of our activities are leading us in the direction that we want to go. So we're going to spend the next, say, I don't know, 30 minutes or so going over this training that he has put together. I'll kind of chime in here and there, but I'm definitely going to go ahead and turn the mic over to Eric. So here you go, babe.
All right. Man, this is awesome. I appreciate that introduction. I really, really, really do. And I will receive that, and I appreciate that. Hey, guys, I tell you, you are in for a treat tonight. We have some fantastic information. Totally inspired, and I just like to, I just like to really thank my wife for doing such an awesome job. I mean, you guys know, in all honesty, you've never seen me at a challenge party. I just really started doing challenge parties, and that was with Renee just this week, Renee Shepard, and that's been awesome to get back in the game. So to kind of provide you guys with this training is just fantastic, because this is things that we've done and developed over the last 10 years during our time in the industry of network marketing, and over the course of 20 years in fitness. And I want to get into this, guys, making sure that you understand what this is really all about. So I want to frame the whole thing. Alyse said something that was really important, and I want to really talk about that. She talks about a culture, and that's really what I want to talk about first, because I think once you really get the big picture, things tend to fall in place much easier. Okay, so now let's talk about that culture. Because you guys know that as a fitness professional, as a fitness coach, mentor, I strive to be an inspiration, and I strive to teach people to do just that. And that is the culture of really what we're doing. Make no mistake, the fitness is secondary. It's probably third on the list. And in fact, we spend the least amount of time really doing the fitness. Just like what we do with Alyse, we spend the least amount of time really with the activities when you compare it to your entire day. I mean, it's a handful of activities that we do, and we'll get into that. But most importantly, I want to make sure you guys understand what we're doing and what we're talking about. So what are we talking about? We're talking about, of course, taking our business to another level. And the theme of this whole thing is play above the game, which is something that my members, my family, my super body, my team super body, I mean, it's definitely our whole philosophy is training above the game. Because the idea behind what we do, if you're watching the videos, my concept with them is one that we're actually not working out. We actually have a mindset where we're preparing. We're preparing for something, and so we have these games that are played each Friday. So Monday through Thursday, everyone's actually preparing for the game, which enables us to focus our activities to the game format. And within these game formats, there's some very specific things that we're achieving, which tie into the last workout of the month, which is the challenge. And that challenge is it's basically 8 to 10 very specific movements, exercises that we do month after month, therefore standardizing our approach. So we're able to really channel all the energies, all the efforts, all the focus to the preparation, and then the preparation into the games, which, you know, moves us towards something that's fun and exciting. And of course that actually has a measurable component to it as well, which they can actually see that they're developing strength and conditioning and their overall fitness level, and of course their confidence week to week. And then that once again ties into the big event, which we track and monitor, and therefore that enables you to ultimately to align everything that you do with the end result. So because of that, we're able to kind of pull out some very specific benchmarks that I've learned to look for, and therefore I'm able to incorporate that into the program so we can therefore predict that that's going to happen as long as the person shows up. So what we're looking to do right here, right now, is very similar. I realize that many of you are very serious about this business, and you know, there's a range. Some folks are very serious about their hobby, you know, and there's a difference. However, what I'm going to share with you tonight is really focused on a culture of transformation, and your goal within this is really going to be the goal you set. This talk tonight is not about convincing you that you need to be an ambassador in the next 30 days. This talk is not about convincing you of anything. In fact, this talk is about seeing who is really ready to move, okay? Because in the end, what you're being trained to do, make no mistake, with everything that I say is all focused on you being able to do one thing that will help you here. And vice Alyse, it will help you with your health and fitness goals, personal goals. It will help you at home. It will provide you with a level of knowledge and some confidence that you'll be able to implement at work until you're ready to fire your boss. Really, all jokes aside, though, this is important, okay? Because here we go. A culture of transformation means that in order for you to be successful at what you're doing, you're going to be someone else when you get there. When you get to your goal, you're going to have incorporated so many different other skills and techniques, and you're going to learn new ways of just being and existing, and ways of seeing things and observing things, a way of responding to things, and less reaction to things. You're going to learn to see things, ahead, out, 12 months out, 6 months out. We're going to train you to do this, and this is super important for the longevity of your business, because in the end, think about it. This company, vice Alyse, has put, really, you might as well say $1 billion on the line to transform people. This is not a weight loss thing, okay? You guys are not involved in a thing. You are involved in a cause, which means that we need to move people. Causes means that we need to move people, right? So in order to do that, what do we need to do? We need to create movement within ourselves and within our organization. So let's talk about what that means, because this is super important. I want to start by sharing something with you, our philosophy behind what we do and how we do it. I think that you'll find this to be very helpful, and you'll be able to apply it directly to your business. And then we're going to get into some very specific activities tonight. So make no mistake, I'm going to give you the step-by-step bullets. But as you guys, if you've heard me share before, I like to make sure that you know what we're talking about, why we're talking about it, and what does it mean. Because if it doesn't mean anything, you're not going to write anything down. This all makes sense, and oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm going to really do something with this. And then there's going to be probably a smaller group of folks that not only write it all down, but it actually means something to them. It means financial independence. It means changing a zip code. For us, it meant, man, I don't even have the time to tell you, but it meant so many things. It's going to mean so many things to so many different people. But in the end, it's going to be this sound that's going to make that makes all the difference. When you connect with someone who is interested and joining your cause, the sound is this. Because that breath, that sigh of relief, that is the number one thing you are going for. Make no mistake. You're not looking to help people lose just 20 pounds, get a Beamer, put, $100,000 in the bank, get a big house, whatever it may be, private school, all that. The next thing that the person you're talking to, all the information I'm going to give you, moving people, the very next movement is something that will give them that relief. That is the very first thing. So let's talk about what this all means and how it all comes together. There's 4 things that I teach my folks to be focused on. And what we do, we have something called an MVP concept, most valuable performance, most valuable player, most valuable play, however you want to see it. It all comes down to peak performance. So what we're really talking about tonight is how you can actually align all your efforts, right? One big push so that you're getting the maximum results out of your efforts. Because we all know that we have a system with ViSalus. It is by far the simplest, most effective system I've ever used since I've been in this industry for the last 10 years. However, what most people don't have, and where they lose it, they don't have a system for managing themselves, right? So you got this fantastic system. But the question is, do you and will you work the system? Just like at SuperBody, we say it all the time. The system works. The question is, will you work the system? So what we've decided to do, which is the same thing I've done with my fitness folks. I mean, the idea is they say, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Well, that is true. But you can't. But here's the thing. There's also going to be folks who want to do it, but because they have not learned how to master themselves, one day they're in and they're on it one day, the next day they don't even, you wouldn't even know they were in the business. 3 days later they're in it, they're hot and they're rolling again. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday you hear nothing from them. Next week you hear from them once, and the week after maybe twice. So they're not fully engaged, right? They don't know how to manage themselves in a way where they can be effective with this business and just about any other area in their lives, talking about personal, professional, financial, relational, spiritually. All these things are going to suffer if you can't master yourself. So what we're talking about tonight is how to actually learn to master yourself through this process of becoming a successful ViSalus business owner, okay? So this is what we're going to do. I want you to get your pencils ready because I'm going to give you 4 principles that we're going to build this whole thing on, okay? And week to week, we're going to, of course, be providing you with more and more information, building on this platform that we're developing tonight, which is really sort of based on what we're doing in the gym and fitness, our MVP concept. So here's the deal. First thing, there's 4 different principles that you really need to understand, because most people think that time is their #1 resource in this business, or money. Time or money, right? Most people talk about time and money, right? Well, we all know that it's not a huge investment whatsoever, and if you really compare the return on the investment you get from what you're doing here with ViSalus, I mean, it's by far, if you can find another investment in the marketplace, I mean, anywhere where you can invest $4.99 for an ESS kit, let's just say a person never made any more than $500 a month, and they did it for 12 months. $6 grand, you invest $500 with a minimal amount of work and effort, and you're generating $6,000. First year, second year, just say it was 1 year. Name one other investment that's legal that you can actually do that. I didn't get any responses. So I'm going to keep moving. So the point is, we got a heck of an opportunity. So the deal is, you need to get folks to be able to take this serious. Now, I'm talking about the business behind it. I'll get back to the cause on the front side of this thing. But let's talk about those 4 principles I talked about. The first thing is understanding that time and money are not the most important things. The next thing on the list, the most important thing, is going to be energy. How you spend your energy. And believe me, I'm not talking about hokey energy, hocus pocus, zen and all. I'm going to get to the nuts and bolts of this thing. So let's get into it. There are 4 dimensions of energy that we're going to talk about tonight. These are the same things you'll hear me talk about on videos where I'm working with my people and so forth, because what are we doing? We're transforming. What are you doing? You're transforming. Let's think about it. If you were already exactly the person that you needed to be in order to actually be an ambassador in this business, 6 figures, or even a regional director, if you're just starting, you'd already be there. Obviously, there's something that's going to change between now and then, a number of changes daily, small incremental changes, because if you guys heard me talk about a transformation is not a change. A change are the steps that we're taking daily to reach that transformation, you see? So what we need to talk about right now are those 4 dimensions, because a lot of change is going to take place in these 4 dimensions. And these 4 dimensions are, first and foremost, it's going to be spiritually, then it's going to be mentally, then it's going to be emotionally, then you're going to have physical transformation. And when I say physical, I'm not just talking about you losing body fat or getting in better shape. I'm talking about you transforming, you becoming that which you've been created to be, essentially. I mean, really just removing the crap. That's really what we're doing. We're not adding anything to your plate. So best believe, when I share what I'm going to share with you today, I'm going to show you how to fit it all into what you're doing and cut out the crap so that you're not busy, you're productive, okay? You ever heard of a book called The 4-Hour Work Week? It's written by what's Tim's last name? Ferriss, Tim Ferriss. And this book is amazing. It actually flipped my whole mentality of work and recovery and like what's most important. So what I want you guys to do is think about these different energy dimensions as I go through this, because this is going to, as we start to roll with this, you're going to need to understand the basic fundamentals of what I'm talking about. So you kind of reach back into your data bank and pull this stuff out so you can plug these into the spaces as we roll. But first thing, okay, we've covered those dimensions. Now the reason why they're important is this. Just like I teach in my class, in order to have results, we need to make sure that you can see that you're moving in the right direction. Why? Because every decision has lag time. So the reason why most of the people that I'm working with anyway are really where they're at, say they're 50, 60 pounds overweight or 20 pounds overweight or just, emotionally beat up. Well, obviously they were making decisions and taking on certain activities that were leading them in this direction. But obviously if they were to, eat a Big Mac and woke up the next day and were 60 pounds overweight, I'm sure they wouldn't have eaten the second one, I mean, come on, 120 pounds overweight, you didn't learn your lesson on the first Big Mac? Of course you would have. That's the problem, though. It doesn't work that way. Everything is so gradual that by the time you actually start to really live the results of those behaviors, they're already habits. You see? Then you wake up, you look in the mirror, you say, oh, man. And then next thing you think you're going to do is all of a sudden change or transform overnight. Doesn't work that way. So what we do in our program and what we're doing with you guys is making sure you have benchmarks in place so you can actually see that what you just did, you can get a sense of where it's going to take you, where that activity, with that one activity will take you, because it's going to compound. So the idea is getting everything in alignment, getting all your energy as far as your focuses on from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint, emotionally, spiritually, getting all that stuff aligned so that as you're applying your efforts in these activities, they're aligning with specific benchmarks. So in between the activities that you're going to do with the business, which I'm going to clearly talk about tonight, we're going to make sure you have the right strategies and the right techniques. Now, we won't get into strategy and technique tonight, but we will talk about the activities and the benchmarks which you're going to need to see in place so that you know you're actually moving down that line. You want to know you're moving down a path of success. So, believe me, I've been in businesses like these and gotten caught up in all the excitement and all the hype, and when all the smoke cleared, some folks are driving, Mercedes and Beamers and with fat checks and all, and you have the hat, you have the shirt, you have the big flip chart, you have a ton of CDs, but where's the cash? Where's the rank? Or where's what everyone promised, right? Well, here's the deal. What Alyse says that you can do, what they're saying that you can achieve, you're seeing it, and it's happening so frequently that it's not an exception. It's the rule. So the deal is these folks are following some very specific guidelines, right? That the company's laid out. Now, some folks come into this business, they're ready to align all those energy dimensions. I'm ready to go because they're developed. They've been transforming. So they just have some more transforming to do in order to take on some other activities or, to start to focus on some different benchmarks, but they've been doing that. So if you're one that if you're one that hasn't yet mastered yourself, and you haven't been applying this in other areas of your life, you're going to need what we're talking about tonight more than ever. And if you're someone who's already done it for yourself, you're going to need tonight because you're going to want to duplicate by plugging your people into this type of training so that you don't have to run around town trying to teach 30 people this, because you need to be on your Alyse game. Okay, so let's talk about that. The next thing we're going to do is balance these energies. We want to talk, because one thing I teach in my program is that the use of these energies, the use and the lack of use of these of energy in any of these areas will cause it to diminish or to increase in capacity, your ability to use them. So the balancing of the use and recovery of it is huge. Okay. The second thing is, once you understand this, you understand that you can build it. but we must push your limits, guys. You got to push your limits, which means you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to call people, you're going to go places, you're going to do things, you're going to go to events, you're going to buy tickets, you're going to fly places, you're going to wear hats and pens and talk to people and do things you haven't done before. Okay? That's what I mean by transformation. So if any of the things I just said makes you feel uncomfortable, so what? You're not there yet. You see? Now we need to put your mindset there so you're comfortable seeing it before you get there, because we can do it in your mind over and over and over. So by the time you actually are in the physical place where it's going to take place, it's a reenactment. You see what I'm saying? So the idea is training above the game. We know what we're going to do in the game. We know what the game is, right? And if you want to play above the game, you must train above the game. And that's what you're doing right now. This isn't your typical MLM. Let's talk about, how to get your prospect, how to close your prospect. Dude, if you get what I'm teaching you, you won't have to close them, okay? They'll be closing you, because the deal is I started talking about the idea of being a coach, right, and going to a mentor. A coach helps you perfect skill sets, right? Then a mentor will help. They will share their life and come down into your life to help you to learn how to perfect certain skill sets and develop your, to help you to develop. But you're going for an inspiration. You want to just light up the room when you're around. You want people to do things they'd have never done because they're associated with you, okay? You have closed the deal before you've opened your mouth. So that's the level, and that's the standard that I'm talking about tonight. I'm talking about a culture of people who have made that decision to transform. So as I continue to go through these business practices, please attach them to the meaning of transforming your life first, because you got to put the oxygen mask on first. You guys have heard me say that before, right? You got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you start running around wanting to save people. But in the end, this is for them. This cannot be just for us. So as I say this, make sure that you understand. My hopes are that you are as transparent, and this information and this training will flow through you right to everyone you're attached to, and even better, you go get those folks and get them back on the line, okay? So we finished talking about the fact that we need to build this capacity, okay? We must build it beyond your normal limits like everyday athletes do. That's the way I refer to my members, my family, my team super body. They are everyday athletes. It's not one person in there that's just going to get a workout, right? And if you thought you got on the line tonight just to get a webinar, you'd be sadly mistaken. That's just like me going to the gym giving a workout. Don't give workouts. Don't give webinars. I give training. I give coaching. I give counseling. It's part of a process. I'm part of a transformation, right? So the deal is, until you guys are done, I'm not finished. Okay, so here we go. Number 4, we're going to align all those energies up, right? We have to align them, and I'll explain what that looks like. But here's the deal. We have to align all of your energies with positive and highly effective routines, okay? Highly effective routines. Why? Because we need to manage your energy. We need to manage the use and the recovery of it. Because that's how we're going to teach you and grow you and help you to build this. And this is how your team is going to get exactly the same thing. And as we get into this later, I'll be talking about those strategies which you're going to use with this information. You'll be able to apply that whole prospecting, recruiting, and sponsoring, and duplicating, and compounding. Yeah, we're going to get to the MLM nitty-gritty. But right now, it won't mean anything. You've heard it before. Right? You've all heard it before. You can Google it right now and find 25 million people who want to teach you how to do it, and half of it will be for free. So what's the difference? The difference is no one's really talking about the idea of mastering the person who's behind all that, right? That's what we're talking about. So, let's talk about that. In order to really to help you to align all this, guys, we need to talk about what is a leader. Like, what does it mean to align all this? I mean, why would you want to align all this? Like, what does that have to do with your leadership? What does that have to do with what you're doing? Well, the reason why it has a big impact on what you're doing is because not only do you need to master the use of your energy, think about it. You become, as a leader, you become a steward of organizational energy. That's one thing I had to really learn. I learned that as in my role as the super body coach, and believe me, it's a role. I'm not the one. Trust me, it would not be a super body without those 60 folks. I promise you. I've been there with 10. I've been there with 120 people standing in front of me. It wasn't team super body. And why? Because I hadn't yet developed myself to the point that I was mastering myself, so therefore I couldn't really get on that part. Great exercise program, fantastic workouts, but it was not a system. It was not we did not have a process in place. But we did a great job. It was a lot of fun. I see Stefan on the line. Whoop, whoop. Stefan was, him and I, we ran that program together. Stefan Green, he's part of the Body by Vibe family. But anyway, guys, so what am I talking about being a leader? That you have to manage you manage yourself. You have to learn to become effective yourself. So if this information I'm sharing with you, if you're thinking that you're going to run out, tell everyone, this is what you guys need to do. I just got off the line with Eric Williams and Alyse, and they said you need to just put a sock in it quick. Because the first thing you want to do is start moving on what we're talking about tonight. And it's naturally going to place you in front of people, okay? So what does that mean? That means that we need to get you to the point where you learn how to peak, right? Personal peak performance. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Personal peak performance. When I say peak, you probably got it. That means you can't stay there all the time. You are not wide open 24/7. We don't do it that way. We've never seen anyone who's had really massive success do it that way. The challenge is, in today's world, you typically in the media you only see these people at their peak experiences, like the videos I send out. Guys, these are peak experiences. Come on, people aren't running around all day long. Well, I don't know. Lori Dunn, I'll tell you. There's a couple folks, but I know I don't. When I leave the class, I'll tell you, we teach a couple in a row. I got to go recover, and I come home, I shut it off, go in the room, kids will tell you, close the door, boom, done, silence, because I do another one at 12 o'clock. So I have a ritual. I have a routine. I have a process, right? So when you're recovering, you're not just resting. Rest is, just standing there like, you just did a set and exercise. You're kind of standing there panting, right? My group knows we're recovering. Yes, you're resting, but you're hydrating. You're focused on what I'm talking about. You see where we're going. You know what we're about to do. And if we're going to duplicate something we just did, you're looking at the tweak that you're going to make that's going to improve what you just did. That's the benchmark that I talked about. Those are the activities that I mentioned. Now, when we convert all that to what you do out in the field, whoo-hoo, put it this way, no stretch at all. I will tell you straight up. This month, last month when we had our MVP challenge, right? The results were absolutely astonishing. The top 10 people that had we call the biggest movers, that had the biggest results. These folks range from 25% up to over 100% improvement in their performance. Now check this out. You would think, yeah, well, that makes sense because you got new folks coming in. I've been training these folks for 8 to 12 months. 8 to 12 months. Now you're thinking, oh well, yeah, switched up the game, the exercise stuff, nutrition plan and all that. I'm sure. Same moves. Same moves. We resequence things and add a twist to them. Everybody knows the same stuff. I got 52 moves, right? Next year I'll have 50 moves. Year after I have 50 moves, right? Because what changed was the fact that they focused all their energies to those 10 movements we do at the end of the month. Now, those 10 movements are designed to assess and to show and really demonstrate your transformation, your overall transformation in the areas of cardio conditioning, overall strength, core conditioning, balance, flexibility, right? Agility, coordination, right? Right? All these things. And of course you had to fuel and eat properly in order to fuel your body and achieve all this, new levels of endurance and stamina, right? So these 10 movements assess all that. So when you look at your ViSalus system, what do you think it's doing? It is what actually makes this whole thing work. See, the challenge is, just like what I found with SuperBody, I had to come up with a way to help people to manage those energies because it was the same format. And then by giving those guidelines and laying out the standard for which we're all shooting for, they're able to look at what other people are doing and judge how well they're doing it or how much better they can do by taking on certain activities because it's being modeled all over the place, right? Just like the situation you're in with ViSalus, which is why I'm talking tonight, which is why Alyse handed me the microphone. So moving along with that, we talked about aligning these things and being a leader. You need to be aware of personal peak performance because, you're either going to add to your team's energy or you're going to draw from it. I'm going to be perfectly honest. And this is real world. There are people out there drawing from it, and there's people out there adding to it. You need to make a decision on which person you're going to be. And if you really, if that doesn't make a lot of sense to you, that doesn't mean you're drawing energy from people or you're dragging them down, because there's some people who are naturally just like that. Now, here's the thing, though. If you're not naturally just like that, and even if you are, because I consider myself a pretty upbeat person, and I've considered myself that way pretty much all the time. But what I didn't know is I couldn't run at that pace 24/7. And what happened to me, and I'm sure you guys experience, is that, at some point, you burn out and you take a step back, and people, and all of a sudden your routine changes. Well, wait a minute. People were following you. They were following your consistent behaviors, and all of a sudden you just stepped off. Where'd he go? Right? Oh, man, anyone could tell you that used to be my story back in the day, because I didn't manage my energies. Because I would just run at a Ferrari pace, red line, 7,000 RPMs, and like in first gear, I wasn't even shifting gears, and you don't do this business that way, guys. You don't see Alyse run it that way. If you watch her and keep track of what she's doing, and Renee and all the leaders we have on the team, Ladiva and all the folks, guys, you don't see them do that. You don't see them run like that. I mean, we're running, but we're not cutting corners, and we're not doing anything, any trick of the day. It's consistent progress, and we apply it the same way we do at SuperBody. So how are you guys going to do that? How do we align your energies, and what are you aligning them with? Let's talk about that. As I mentioned earlier, you're going to align these energies. Here's a write down. You're going to align those energies with specific activity, specific strategies, techniques, and benchmarks. So let's break that down. Activity, an action or a movement. Okay? Movement, feet movement, right? Action or a movement. Trust me, it will come down to that word. Okay? But that word means nothing until we add more meaning. So let's add more meaning. Strategy. It's a plan or an action, right? A plan or action that keeps a policy in place, right? And think about it, a plan, action, or policy, okay? That's a strategy, which means that once you put a strategy in place, it's a plan, okay? And if we're a team, we're on the same plan, we're all have the same strategy. I mean, you can tweak it, and, you're going to have your own techniques, okay? Because that's more personalized. But Alyse has laid out the strategy. I mean, we used it. I mean, I know, like Alyse said, I'll be perfectly honest. We couldn't pay a light bill with the check that we had in April. She started working the business the end of April, beginning of May. She doesn't talk about it, but I got to put it out there because, just keeping it real. We have a business center that Alyse is running. It's in my son's name, and she handles everything about it. And this is a center where we run our main business from, which is where we sponsored our best people. Well, because her name's not on it, she's not going to be standing on stage, but she's about 3 days away from ambassador. We're looking at the points. It could be done tomorrow. So the fact of the matter is, she's applied it. I didn't count up the months, but what, 8, 9 months or so? It certainly is not even 12 months, okay? And she's been at the six-figure range in this business for the last 90 days, okay? And thanks to Alyse, that's also why we're able to provide this fitness service for free. So that was a transformation. That's something that was truly important to me, which put a tremendous amount of meaning behind her movement, her activity. Okay, she knew that what I wanted to do was worthy, it was upright, it was something to be pleasing, right? And she put the hammer on it. She put the hammer on it. I went to work on the fitness side. She went to work on the Alyse. Like I said, I've attended 2 challenge parties since then, and they've both been with Renee Shepherd. Okay, so what I'm sharing with you is what she's doing. Okay, I'm just letting you know where her head game, how she's able to do this. Okay, this is what we prepared for. Okay, so what's your role in all this? What is your role in all this? First of all, you want to, of course, start out as a coach, and then you're going to ascend to being a mentor. Then you want to ascend to being an inspiration, right? Just light up the room. Okay, why? Because that's the most efficient place to be. You barely have to say much. You have to say less as an inspiration than you do as a coach, as you do as a mentor, and you can help so many more. Why? Because everything that you represent can transcend beyond you through people. right? It is the cause. It's the cause, right, of moving people. Okay, now, why is that the ultimate? Why? Because it's the moving people. That's what this is all about. It means nothing else to me, to be perfectly honest. And, you know, I'll be perfectly honest. I'll be perfectly honest. I love the Beamer. And yes, we do need the resources. But beyond, like, ambassador, truly, let's keep it real. Who really needs more than $10,000 a month, right? Think about it. I mean, you know, Alyse is going to generate another 30% increase next month. I mean, you know, who needs more than 10 grand? So beyond that point, like, really, what's the motivation? Really, what's going to really drive us to do more than that? You know, we just a year ago, we were broke. We found out how to be wealthy when you're facing poverty. We looked it right in the face, took a wink, you know, smiled, winked at it, went about our business. So right now, you know, we've been wealthy, dude. We got the best friends on the absolute planet through this opportunity and creating this culture. I will say that, root by salads. So stay tuned, guys, because this is way bigger than the money. We got to move these people. The other day, Renee and I, you know, we're sharing this news. You know, we're at a church, you know, close to here, and we were sitting down with some folks, some great people. We met some awesome people. My man Derby and the gang, and this dude's an awesome trainer. But it makes long story short, we wrapped it up, and after we wrapped it up, you know, we at the challenge party, no one moved. Not one person moved. Didn't even flinch. And I had to ask, what will it take? What just please share with me what's going on in you for you, you know, to so I can help, because we need to get through you to get to the rest of the congregation. They need to see you move. So tell me, please, what is it? What do you see? What don't you see? What do we need to do? I pleaded with them. To be perfectly honest, I didn't pull the, you know, I'm the man. Look, we got a Beamer out front, 6 figures. We're making the dough. You know, I could take you or leave you. Nah, folks, we're moving people. It really doesn't work like that. So in the end, this training, what makes it so much meaning, what I'm hoping you really put behind it, there's so many people that so need this. You got to move. You really got to move. You know, we have to transform. We have to create a culture of transformation, okay? So that's what makes this whole thing so important, and that's why it's the number one reason to me. And to make this happen, guys, you have to have a system. A system. You need to follow a system so that you can keep all these things in alignment, okay? And what does that mean? It's a set of things working together to form a complex whole. A set, right? There's a set of things, right? Some activities working together, right? Working together, bringing it all together to form a complex whole. So all the things that I'm right about to get into, and I'm gonna rip right through it. I know Alyse said 30 minutes. She looked at me. I didn't give a chance to give it a look. Like really not gonna be that type of show, guys. Give or take. I'm going for another 15. So if you got to tune out, hey, I love you anyway. I know that we got the recording, but I got to finish this thing up. So here's the deal. It's about a system, guys. And what is the whole that we're talking about? Okay, and then here's the wrap up. I'm actually getting into the really nitty gritty right now. The 5 things that we're going to be hitting on. What is the whole? You know, you say play above the game. What am I playing? What am I doing? Okay, you've heard this stuff that I'm about to tell you again, but it's going to come. But hopefully at this point it has even more meaning, and it's going to make you run out and grab all your people and say, you know what? I know you heard it. I know you've heard it before, but you haven't heard it like this. You need to get on the call. Okay, here we go. What is the whole? Okay, first of all, the whole is it is the overall big picture of everything, and any network marketing MLM company would have to plug their system into what I'm about to share with you. Okay, so this is very generic. This is going to be very specific, but it's very generic. Any successful company is going to have to use these. I use them every day. This is my process as well. Okay, first thing is prospecting. Okay, second thing, recruiting. You didn't expect to hear that, right? Third thing is going to be sponsoring. Then we're going to talk about duplicating, right? Then, of course, the big C, compounding, right? Most people don't even talk about compounding because you typically don't really see it until you get beyond regional, and you really feel it when you get right around where Miss Renee and Miss Cheryl Oaks are about to woo-woo presidential director. You really feel it kick in. Okay, but before then, regional director is probably the soonest. And anything before regional director, you're probably experiencing more so duplication. Just starting to see the compounding kick in, because you do need compounding to kick in order to achieve regional director. Okay, so you need duplication to actually become a rising star. Okay, follow me? You need to sponsor to become a director, possibly, or to actually become someone who's helped someone get their rising star. So so you understand, you need to recruit in order to get even your first person. So before you help anyone become a rising star yourself, you got to recruit someone. And before you recruit someone, obviously you have to figure out who you're looking for, and how to figure out that might be someone you want to deal with, which means that's prospecting. But before all that, write this down, because everyone's a suspect. Every single person's a suspect. Don't cross anyone off your list, right? Because here's the thing. If you do what we're going to teach you over the next few weeks, the next 12 weeks, we're going to roll with this thing. I'm going way in depth with this. You're going to understand that you are going to be an inspiration. So you're giving off something that's going to move people. So if someone doesn't move, they're not a suspect anymore. So guess what? You wouldn't even bother to prospect them. See that? Went right to the next step. Move right on. And the idea is you didn't waste any time. You didn't push. See, the idea, you're going to be giving off something, and you're just going to know. Alyse came into the house the other day. It's funny because she said, I'm going to share this, baby. She said, you ever just get to the point where you kind of just know whether someone's going to do it or not? I was like, yeah. and then she said, but you kind of know that like right away. And I'm like, yeah. And it's a gift and a curse. It's kind of sad and it's exciting because the thing is, I don't know everything, but I need to go on my gut, because I got to consider, if I've been given 5 talents and I want to bring 10 back, I got to do the best I can with them. And all I have is the discernment that I have, and that discernment, guys, is going to be based on of course your spiritual discernment and your ability to assess all these things quickly, just in a nugget, and all that's going to happen in an instant. You'd had no time to really physically do anything, mentally, think about strategy, or emotionally feel, it just comes right to you. So that's going to really make your prospecting easy, because they're gonna say certain things, they're gonna respond certain ways of not your techniques, but they're gonna respond to your being, just the way you are. You remember the story about the Pied Piper? That you're gonna become a Pied Piper. You're gonna be walking, and you're gonna stop at some point. You're gonna realize, wow, they're just following. They just want to be a part of what I'm doing, and I happen to be doing this. See, if you make this what you are, like you see people on Facebook, yeah, I am this company. No, you are this. You are bigger than life. You are a brand in itself. You're not a businessman. You're a business man. You guys get it? So the deal is, women too. So the idea is you are the business. You're not a business person. Get me? Like Alyse and I, we don't do business. We only do personal. People say, well, separate business personal. If someone comes to me and says, hey, what I'm about to say, please don't take it personal. It's only business. I'm ready to run. Because what happened to the friend I was just dealing with? What happened to the person that was really in tune with who I am as a person and what we're all about and the calls and so forth? So if you say, hey, it's business, what happened? So, when you're on Facebook, guys, when you're working with folks, keep that in mind. It's not business. It's personal. It's always personal. Okay? And if you really feel like you can separate the two, I would challenge you to really, go through this transformation process, because hopefully you start to recognize that really, it's all this stuff, all of us are part of the whole. Okay? So it's not business. It is personal. Okay, so let me hit a couple bullets, and I'll be wrapping this up in 10 minutes about the whole idea of prospecting, recruiting, sponsoring, duplication, and compounding. I'm going to teach you exactly what you're looking for in each of those things. Okay, so the first thing is prospecting. I pretty much just laid it out. So there's not a whole lot to really get into there, because honestly, it could be anyone from the age of 18 to 80. You really don't know. But I will say this: if you look at the guidelines that the company puts out there, generally speaking, people are between the ages about mid-20s to to in their 50s and early 60s and so forth, which is the focus. Let me just say that the largest segment of people who are actually getting on board. Okay, so I'm not saying that an 18-year-old won't do it. I'm not saying that a 75-year-old won't do it. Actually, that's already been proven that they would. But in the end, if you need to align your energies, and it is energy and not time and money, you need to see it like a sprinter. And I'm going to teach you that later, because you're going to be learning how to really apply yourself to engage and then recover. Engage and recover on a daily basis, and it'll look seamless to everyone else. But you're doing the duck thing, like you're cruising across the water, but your feet are still constantly moving, right? Well, we're going to teach you how to actively to engage and how to actively recover. Okay, huge, because when you're recovering, you're actually making the most progress. Why? Because most of the people around you who are going for what you're going for, let's say you're an athlete, it's all about the recovery, because everyone's playing the game. Right? What do you do after the game? Right? You got to play above the game. You got to think above the game. So that's what we're talking about, thinking above the game. So next thing is after prospecting is going to be recruiting. So guys, what is recruiting? I mean, let's just break it down. I actually, believe it or not, I really wanted to know the actual definitions of some of these things, because I thought, man, wouldn't it be neat to kind of break this down? So just to kind of give you an idea, prospecting is all about searching for a mineral or deposit in a place. Okay, you're definitely looking for that, because what are you looking for? You're looking at that to see that certain seeds have really already been planted in certain people in order so that you can help to nurture these seeds. So you're planting seed too, but the reality is there's seeds that's already planted, because if you're prospecting a person and you're ready to recruit them and they're ready to go, that seed's been there. Okay, so you're really, the prospecting technique that we'll be teaching you over the course of the weeks will really help you to determine how, you'll help you find that and focus on a whole nother level. I'm not going to be teaching you stuff that you could just stuff that you could really Google. On that level, I'll be teaching you on a whole nother level. So stay tuned, okay? Next thing, recruiting. Interesting. This is cool. Form, okay, in parentheses. Form, in parentheses, and an army or other force, in parentheses, by enlisting new people. Okay? So recruiting is you're actually forming a force or an army, okay? It's not the idea of just going out and getting someone. Okay? And so it's not an idea of going out and just sponsoring someone. You're adding them to your team. You are building your force. Okay? Sponsoring. And by the way, recruiting, most of it is a shift in mindset, which we'll get into, which is also culture of transformation. Just put it out there. Number 3, sponsoring. A person or organization that provides funds or support for a project or activity. Okay? So think about it, guys. Does that sound like signing someone up? Does that sound like, come to a party, here's your, sign up right here, you'll get some, some shakes and stuff, and then get on this call. Let me read that again. A personal organization that provides funds or support for a project or activity. Okay, so we have activities. We have a system. This is a project. Okay, until they're done, you're a sponsor. Okay, until it's over. Okay, and we do have surrogate sponsors out there, people who have to step in, because if you're on our team and you're not being sponsored, you're getting sponsored, okay? Because you've been sponsored to be part of the whole, okay? Next thing, duplication. This is cool. The action of doubling something, really basic, right? So what does that mean? What does that look like in the business? So first of all, let me back up one step, because recruiting, I want to give you a couple bullets on that. Sample. Okay, placing samples. Okay, that's part of your recruitment process. Magazines, overviews. Sending people to overviews, putting them in the Facebook group so they can see what's happening to other folks. See, that's a process of recruiting. Okay, because you're forming your army. You're getting people to think like you think. If you heard me say it before, the best thing you can do is get people to see what you've seen, hear what you've heard, right? Read what you're reading. Why? Because they're likely to think what you're thinking. If they're thinking what you're thinking, they like to do what you're doing. If they're doing what you're doing, they're likely to get what you're getting, right? And then they're going to do what? Keep doing it and share it with other people, okay? So those are the few things you can do with recruiting. We'll get into that next as the weeks go. I just want to give you some bullets because I'm wrapping it up in 5 minutes. So those are some things you can do right now. Start getting your samples out. Start getting some magazines out there, some overview videos, getting people to the overview videos, getting people in the Facebook group so they can see the proof, because they'll be shifting. Remember, you got to pop them in the incubator, because before you go to sponsoring them, you want them to have interaction with your company, with your cause, with your team, with the group. Third thing, like I touched on, is sponsoring. Guys, you realize sponsoring is 80% of it is how you start. I mean, people starting this business and really have no idea. They don't set them up for success. Let's think about it. You're sponsoring a friend and they're going to AA, and totally get them started off on the wrong foot. I mean, you let them go in, sit with a bottle of liquor in their back pocket or something. I mean, it's a bad analogy, but the point is well made. Is that if they start off wrong, I mean, if you're not providing them with the right platform to start, when they get out of AA, they can't get in the car and you got booze in the back. I mean, like, really, think about it. I mean, this is all about the idea about. I'm sorry about that. I had a little interruption. But this is really all about the idea of making sure they get started right and have the right platform to get this thing off the ground, making sure they have the right resources in place. And what does that mean? That means that, guys, you got to make sure they understand that they're going to be doing 3 ways. They got to understand that they're going to be creating this credibility and enhancing their expertise in an instant from one call. They need to understand that they're going to be moved towards these getting started trainings, right away. They need to understand that they're going to do this, that this is what's coming. They need to understand about the events. They need to commit to them ahead of time. Don't wait. Don't spring it on them. Think about it. This is a multi-million-dollar business for you and that person. Okay? I don't think it's that big of a deal to fly out to an event or two, a year. I mean, what, 2, 3 events? Big events, and you have some local ones, right? Most people go to church every Sunday. That's an event every single Sunday. Okay? Think about it. And from experience, I know a lot of us are praying for, in church, for a solution like this, but they won't go to the event that they're praying for at church or, wherever it is, or so just think about it. This could be exactly what you're asking for, what you're looking for. Okay, so the next thing is duplication. What does that look like? Steps 1, 2, 3, prospecting, recruiting, and sponsoring. That's what duplication is. You've gotten them to do exactly what you did. Remember where I went before, the definition. The action of doubling something. You just doubled up. Because you got them to do exactly what you just did. Now tell me that what we just talked about can't be done week to week for multiple people. Of course it can. So what are we waiting on? We need to roll with that, guys. Okay? So here we go. Next, the next thing is, of course, going to be compounding. And guys, when we get into the training on this, I'm going to have at it because this is my favorite topic right here. Because the same benefits of the results, the overall results that we're receiving, that we're experiencing in class, our super body class, is from a compounding that's been happening for months now. But of course, the breakthrough is happening, so people are starting to notice all the, the results. But the reality is, those physical results were on the way because we were preparing mindset. We were preparing people to train above the game. I was really, really preparing them to be able to take on the intensity that they're now quite accustomed to. In fact, they look forward to it. In fact, it excites them. But 4 or 5 months ago, please. No, if I threw that out there 4 or 5 months ago, no, because we needed to align our energies, our physical energies, of course. But before that, guys, anyone will tell you, we pitch the vision every day. This is where we're going, guys. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing. When you get there, you're going to feel like this. This is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to look like. This is why you're doing it. You got to pitch the vision. You got to cast the vision, man. People need to see it, okay? So the idea behind that, why? Because then that enables them to latch on to the strategy. They can mentally focus on the strategy. You see? So spiritually, they're opening up. Mentally, they're focusing on the strategy. Then the next thing, emotionally. Emotionally, they're balanced. Right? Emotionally, they're balanced. They're open. They're flexible. And then physically, they're moving. They're putting the effort in now. So what are they going to get? They get the results. And then what does that do? That reinforces. Let's do it again next week. Let's do those activities again. Right? Exactly. Let's apply that same strategy. Boom. Look at the benchmarks. I've done better. Let's do it next week. Let's do it again. Okay? That's what we're doing, guys. That's what we're doing. And I'm talking to the people. I'm looking at your names. You know that's what we're doing. I see you, Rebecca. I see you, Renee. I see you folks on the line, the same team. Guys, trust me. This is 80% of everyone that's on our core team, local team. We see 70% of them every day in the class. So what I'm sharing with you, and this is how we're getting off with this thing. This is how we're blowing this thing up. By the time we're ready to play this game, we done trained way above the game. Okay, and we're doing exactly what we're going to be training you right now. So let me finish this thing up on compounding because I don't even know how to cut this machine off. I think Alyse, she's going to need to run back up here and handle this. So I'll go ahead and share this. When you compound, understand this. You need to get multiple people doing the same thing you're doing. Okay, multiple people. Okay, which means what? Are you going to run around and get all these people doing that? No. Do you have to? Not even. Why? Because you taught one person, coached one person, mentored one person, inspired one person to do exactly what you're doing. Why? Because you are captured into a culture of transformation yourself. So you're doing the thing, right? They have no choice. If they're going to be hanging with you, what are they going to do? They're going to do the thing because they're hanging with you, right? That's the point. If you're moving your feet and you're really doing it and you're showing up, or you're getting on the calls, you're showing up at the webinars, you're going to the events, you're doing your challenge parties, how could they not see where the success is coming from? So the idea is from that point, all you need to ensure that they're doing what you're doing. And if they're doing what you're doing, they likely feel the way you feel. And if they feel the way you feel, that's because they probably have the same strategy that you have, which means that spiritually, they're probably focused and opened up and unlocked onto what you are focused on and unlocked and opened up to, I should say, right? Which is what? The 4 dimensions. So I'm just going to wrap it up right there because it's 8:32. That's 2 minutes beyond the 10-minute point that I put out there. But guys, when we get onto this compounding is going to be that's exciting because the best of the best of this business and what it all has to offer, the residual income, and I will tell you, forget the residual income. How about this? How about literally going and teaching a fitness class for a couple hours and not even? How about spending? No, not even. How about investing? No, not even. Seriously. How about getting the opportunity gifted from God to be available enough to actually love on and be loved on by 60 people every day? I wouldn't want to spend it with anyone else. And that's the truth. Next to my family, my wife, and my kids and my parents, you guys, the people I work with, and the people that I'm going to be connecting through Visalis, you guys are it. You are my cause. Okay? And we could be doing a lot of different things. I'm not saying that what I'm saying is I could just be doing the fitness thing. You'd be doing a personal training thing one-on-one, and Alyse could be doing whatever she wants to do. The reality is, guys, we do this because of the people. This is what we love. We love this. I mean, and guys, so this is a culture of transformation. So just understand when I'm throwing all these terms out there, all this stuff. This isn't. It used to be. I will say, it used to be about the business. Honestly, I can honestly say, it used to be about the business. It used to be about getting the lights cut on when we first started. It was about the fact we were renting a home and we couldn't put the lights on, so I had to have my kids sleep on my parents' floor. That's what it was about. Now it's about all the other people who we can impact, who have something similar in some way, shape, or form going on in their life. Here's a solution. Here's a way that we can offer the same a sense of reprieve that we've had. And we took a breath, and we're going back in for more, folks. So, and I encourage you to do the same. About 12 years ago, a mentor of mine shared this quick little story with me, and I'll share it with you, and we'll end on this. He said that, you're going through a process, and that was tough times, dark times. You're going through a process right now where you probably feel like, you're trying to find your way out of a cave. And, and it's dark, you have no light, can't see anything, so of course, you're bumping your head, you're bumping your knees, and, you're bruised up, as you find, crawling and crawling out of this cage, out of this cave. And, by the time you take this trek out of this long cave, just imagine this cave is miles long. It's just pitch black, okay? But you know that there's an end, so you keep moving. You believe that there's an end to this thing. You keep moving. You see no light at the end of the tunnel, but you keep moving, right? Because you're called to. You feel it. You know you need to keep moving, and you do it. And you start to keep, as you're getting towards the end of this thing, you start to look, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, I see some light. I see some light. And so then you start to pick up. Your energy starts to move, right? The industry starts to build a little bit. So because you can see that finish line, and finally, you make it out. And man, it's the most exciting moment of of your life, right? Most exciting moment right there. I did it, right? But the very next thought is even better and even bigger. Why? Because you hear people behind you struggling, bumping into the same rocks, same little potholes. You hear them bumping their heads on the same obstacles, right? So what do? This is a decision that we make. This is a decision that hopefully you're making. You go back in that place. You take your light, you shine it, and get them out. That's what you do. All right, folks, so what we're going to do, we're going to finish that on that note tonight. Hopefully you're as touched as I am. This week has been amazing for me, and it's been a wonderful opportunity to share this with you. So we're going to call it right there. So, guys, just remember, a culture of transformation, what we're all about. This is way bigger than hopefully anything that you've ever been a part of. There's obesity and diabetes, number one things out there killing people, folks. I mean, we could do something about it. By the year 2020, 85% of all households are going to be impacted by diabetes and obesity.
And 95% of people are dealing with financial struggles right now. Absolutely.
And think about the idea of the kids. You're talking 25% of the kids having diabetes before the age of 18. Sad. We can do something about that. Okay, so and in the end, if you're gonna become wealthy, and we are, trust me, I make no excuses for it. I thank God, and we're going all the way with this thing. But is there a better way to get wealthy? Can you tell me a better way to be sitting at home working 3 hours a day and have no guilt associated with it? I watch Alyse do it every day. I do it every day, and I see Renee doing it every day, and there's other folks that are doing it. I mean, guys, 3 or 4 hours out of your day, and you can knock this thing totally out of the park. So let's take it serious. It's not a hobby. It could be, but remember, if it's a hobby, that's cool. That's your thing. If you want to take this thing dead serious, stay on these calls every week because we're going to be bringing it. Okay? God bless everyone. Appreciate it. And this call is officially a wrap.